Hey guys, it's Jim here. Today's guitar comparison is a viewer request. We're going to be checking out the Squier Paranormal Offset Telecaster and seeing how it does compared to a regular Telecaster and a regular Fender Jazzmaster. We're going to be using the Fender Princeton 65 Reverb with the same settings throughout the entirety of the demonstration, mic'd up by the SM57. The only drive that you're going to be hearing is from the Brown Application Protein pedal, but believe me, you'll know it when you hear it, although the settings will pop up on the screen when it is being used. Then after the sound comparisons, I'll do a brief recap on how these guitars sounded in the room, because it might have varied a little bit based on what you're hearing into Pro Tools, as well as some playing experience differences between these three instruments, because they are quite a bit different. Finally, some of these guitars do have mods onto them. This guitar is completely stock except for the fact that it has brass compensated Callahan saddles on it. The Telecaster also has compensated saddles on it, but those are steel, and it's a set of Lawler Special Ts. And the Jazzmaster, the 65 reissue, has a set of Lawler 63 pickups and a stage trem bridge. Let's start off with some clean tones. Let me know in the comment section if there was anything that surprised you during the demo, if there was a sound that really jumped out to you that you enjoyed, or which of the 3 guitars you thought was your favorite. For me, there's not much I want to talk about in this section of the video. I'm going to try and keep it brief because I knew that all 3 of them were going to be a little bit different for various reasons. But there was one thing I was more curious about than anything else, and that was how is the neck pickup sound on this guitar going to fare against the neck pickup sound from a traditional Jazzmaster? And it all comes down to potentiometer values. On this guitar, it's got a 250K volume pot. It makes a lot of sense because if you were to throw a 1 meg pot, which is what comes standard on a Jazzmaster, and combine that with a Tele bridge, which is already known to be a little bit on the ice picky end of things, it would be overkill. So I feel like in order to balance this instrument out between these 2 very different sets of pickups, it makes sense to use a 250K pot. But how it sounded compared to the Jazzmaster was definitely unique. It doesn't fully capture the Jazzmaster vibe, but it's a sound I really dig a lot, and I was surprised by that, especially once Dirt was introduced. I really thought that this guitar sounded great in its own right. The only other thing that really surprised me during the sound comparisons about this guitar was when we had gain on the bridge pickup and I was rolling off the volume control. I knew that the Telecaster was going to sound the best in that section, and it did, but to my surprise, this guitar, despite having the import components on it, when I rolled off the volume on this, it didn't lose all of the high end, and sometimes with, budget kind of components, that's something I worry about, but this guitar did a really good job of maintaining no definition, clarity, and most importantly to me, a lot of high end. So I was really surprised by that, and I thought it was really cool sounding. I know in the beginning of the video I said I was going to comment on the playing experiences between the 3 of the guitars, but they're so vastly different I feel like it's pointless. All I'll say is this guitar is 41 years old. It had vintage frets from the factory. It has those same vintage frets on them, and for me, I love how small they are. It feels so natural, so at home. The Jazzmaster, same exact thing going on. This has vintage sized frets on it. This guitar not only has medium jumbo frets on it, but it's got a little bit more of a flatter board to it. It's got a 9.5 modern radius, whereas the other ones had the vintage 7.25 radius. To me, I prefer playing the older school Fenders, but I do appreciate the fact that this guitar kind of combines a lot of old school elements into a more modern package, and that not everybody is like me. Some people prefer the flatter radius and the bigger frets, and obviously Fender have done their homework and they've realized that a lot of people are also feeling of the same way, and that I'm in the minority when it comes to liking my baby sized frets and the rounder neck profile on it, but it is what it is. All these guitars are great. All I will leave you with is this. If you're interested in any of these 3 guitars in general, or just a guitar that you're looking at online, the best way to know if it's going to be a good fit for you is not by just listening to sound examples, it's to actually get to feel them. Because when you're sitting and you're playing a guitar, it could sound like $1,000,000, and I've had this happen when I'm in recording sessions where the guitar sounds so good coming back through the monitors, but playing it, it's not an ideal experience. If you could find a guitar that feels good and sounds good, then it's a real win. And the only way to really be sure of that is either buy it from a place like Zounds that offers you an awesome return policy if it doesn't work out, or to get in the car, go in person, and try out guitars. That's always going to be the best way going forward when you're looking towards any new purchase. Thank you for watching today's video. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. And while you're down there, feel free to hit the like and the subscribe button. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care.